Hi guys, welcome back to the ASMR version of SERRAL versus NEEB. So once again, we have a strong engagement, a strong international engagement in between Finland and the United States of America. So let me just start by introducing the players to you guys. As you have spawning here in the lower right, in the blue, it is SERRAL, currently the world champion, and his opponent spawning here in the upper left. In the red, it is NEEB from the States. So quite an interesting game we have here. As you can see from the timer, a very long game, as both of them are spawning here on Moondance. So yeah, Protoss versus Zerg it is. Let's just see exactly what the two players have prepared for us and what the build order is going to be. I already see the probe moving out really early here for NEEB, heading straight towards the first expansion point, nicely blocking this attempt here by SERRAL. So just winning him a little bit of seconds here, so SERRAL has to move into another point. So a nice early harassment here by NEEB, as this is also going to be used as a scouting probe here for NEEB. So nice job here by him. SERRAL opting to go for a fast expansion, a little bit delayed, and I'm pretty sure he's going to continue with a extractor and spawning pool. So the pretty standard stuff by him. Let's just check NEEB really quick. A very fast gas for him, only mining with one probe here, interesting enough. And at the same time, I believe he's going to save some minerals for this one expansion. So piling into gateway, also pretty standard stuff. The expansion is up, and we are going to be seeing what exactly the tactics are going to be for NEEB. Of course, many Protoss like to go for that Stargate, like to harass the opponent with the Oracles, but other Protoss also like to go for a Twilight Council and go for a rush with some other units here, perhaps even Zealots with Stalkers, and also the Adepts. The Adepts push with those Fire Glaives could also be an option here for NEEB. Now currently he's going for his cybernetic score. So yeah, pretty standard stuff, but SERRAL is nicely scouting here this location. But let's also see the timer at around the 2 minute and 30, 2 minute and 40 second mark for SERRAL, or is he going for his other expansion point here as well. Check his main, there is his spawning pool, so pretty soon of course he will be going for his speed here. There it is, speed for the Zerglings, as the first queens are also being spawned here for the world champion. So like I told you, around the 2 minute 40 second mark, he should of course go for his expansion. Currently he's just moving out with some Zerglings. Of course he really wants to know what exactly NEEB is up to. There is the first Adept, Warp Gate is being researched here, and there's this one pylon. So yeah, NEEB indeed decides to go for a Stargate around the 2 minute and 40 second mark, and the same can be said here for SERRAL. So nice build order for both players. And yeah, let's just see exactly what NEEB is going to be opting here for, perhaps going for some Oracles. It will be very interesting to see. We see Hero go really heavily into those Oracles, even 5 Oracles can be really strong. Gateway is also being produced here by NEEB, so interesting stuff. He might just transition straight into some gateway units. Overload is very nearby here for SERRAL, so he really wants to of course know what exactly he is expecting if there is a Twilight Council, and he should of course be able to see the Stargate really soon. Hold on, I just missed some units being killed. Yeah, it's just these two Adepts actually making out forward for NEEB. So nice job here by him, shading here towards actually the main from SERRAL. So SERRAL with a little bit of a mistake there, but of course it happens. 5 drones have already been killed, and 2 Adepts have fallen here as well. So first blood has been drawn here by NEEB as he's pushing out with his Adept, but this one is going to get surrounded. And yeah, I believe it's a pretty fair trade, losing 3 Adepts to 5 drones, so that shouldn't be a problem here for the world champion. Now let's see what NEEB is going for. Indeed an Oracle, there are the gateways, and another expansion is being built into this location for NEEB. I believe SERRAL might also try to take his 3rd expansion. Currently he's of course just roaming around, just waiting for an army move out by NEEB. And yeah, NEEB just going to go out with some Adepts, but yeah, not that heavily, not that strong. He might transition, like I told you, into Zealots, into Stalkers. Could be a possibility. He's also nicely roaming around with his one Oracle, but yeah, 1 drone I believe has been killed. The second one is nicely being saved here by SERRAL, so really fast reaction by him. And yeah, the Oracle has dropped really low into energy, so in come the queens just to secure this location. At the same time, a second Oracle is coming here forward for NEEB. And let's just see if he's going to be attacking here. One Spore should be up. There's this one Queen. And yeah, Zerglings are also nicely roaming around, but there are Adepts here to defend. And yeah, let's see the Adepts will nicely hold this position and even snipe some Zerglings. So currently a nice harassment here by NEEB with those Oracles and really going heavily into those Adepts. You can of course see the production tab in the upper left part, just in case I'm missing something. It looks like a timing push for NEEB. Does he have a Twilight Council? Yeah, it's quite a late Twilight Council for him. Still he's shading forward with his units. 4 more drones have been snapped by those Oracles. So NEEB with a quite early strong game. Let's see how he's going to be doing here with his Adepts, shading here forward. Nice block here by SERRAL with his one evolution chamber. Even a second evolution chamber has to be produced here by the world champion. But the queens should be able to hold this location. However, it's going to be really annoying to deal with these Adepts, as they can of course shade in and out. At the same time, it's now 3 Oracles here for NEEB, as the Adepts make it here forward to the next expansion point for SERRAL. So SERRAL with quite some casualties, but still holding on with his queens, with his Zerglings. And the Oracle, let's just check, 2 kills on this one, 0 on this one, and 3 on this one. So like I told you, pretty good harassment here by NEEB, as he's also securing this expansion. And of course, the other expansion is already pumping out minerals. So quite interesting early game, very aggressive early game, and also interesting strategy by NEEB, giving much importance towards those upgrades, very important upgrades, 1 weapons upgrades, and that armor. Also, Blink is being researched, so we might see very soon a transition into those blinking stalkers. Perhaps a timing push around the 8-minute, around the 10-minute mark could be a possibility here for NEEB. Even some Zealots, maybe some Dark Templars would also be a nice and interesting idea, in case there is no vision here for SERRAL. So yeah, slowly but steadily we're closing at the 10-minute mark. It is of course still anyone's game. Nice early harassment by NEEB. And now we actually see finally SERRAL. We're going very late into that Roach Warrant, into the Baning's Nest, now going for his upgrades. But of course he's just focusing onto his economy, his macro-oriented game, just adding more and more drones, just adding more and more bases. Let's check the worker count. NEEB with 17 workers, 76 for SERRAL, as a illusion just went here by just to check the water. So currently both players are focusing now actually onto their defenses and, like I told you, onto their economies. And yeah, now SERRAL moves out, but with just a couple of Zerglings, and they're getting trapped into this stasis field looking like trap here. So just like in Broodwar, sorry, we have a very interesting spell here. Those stalkers could punish the Zerglings here. They might even try to blink forward as soon as this stasis trap is going to expire here. So yeah, nice job here by NEEB defending his expansion points. And of course some Zerglings will fall here even against a blink. So NEEB showing us of course the stasis word it is called. Yeah, nice technologies here for the Protoss versus the Zerg. So it looks like it is indeed a army push out here around the 8-minute mark, as one queen egg after the other has been snapped here. And we even have a relevance here onto this one rock. Nice job here by NEEB, as he's actually pushing forward with more and more stasis traps. Yes, SERRAL tries to counter with some Zerglings into this location, but yeah, NEEB looking like he has a very strong army, as he's also closing into being maxed out army-wise. 92 for SERRAL, 81 for NEEB. But of course NEEB could be really successful here to snipe those banings. They have been cancelled. A better position here for NEEB, but in the end he's actually getting surrounded, so he needs to be careful. The roaches are very tanky, of course. Some Zealots are coming in to help out. The Zerglings aren't really getting any connections. Nice blinking out by NEEB. Now he has the high ground, but his one expansion point is pretty much exposed. The Oracles try of course to do everything they can. Some reinforcements are pouring in, and now SERRAL is actually being surrounded by NEEB. So quite a strong engagement here. Both players losing army supply, but in the end NEEB holds, and the important units, the stalkers, have not fallen here. However, 7 drones have fallen, but that's okay, as NEEB also has a counter-attack here with some Zealots into this location. So 7 drones of course will fall here for SERRAL as well. So only some action here. Both players are trying of course to destroy the economy from the enemy as quickly as they can, and look at that, more and more units are just shading here forward for NEEB. So nice pickups, 10 workers, and now we even have level 2 armor around the 10-minute mark. So NEEB is really getting strong here with his expansion, with his upgrades here, the double forge strategy here working out really well, and now he's even going into his weapons 3 and weapons and armor 3 upgrade around the 10-minute mark. So quite a strong strategy here by NEEB, already having maxed out upgraded units. Look at that, 2 already, 2 weapons, 2 armor, so could be very strong here. Even he's going to activate that warp speed towards those upgrades, so quite a strong push could come forward here for NEEB with some zealots, with some stalkers. It's looking really strong against SERRAL, and in the meantime SERRAL just keeps expanding all over the map, has some Zerglings, has some Banelings, but like I told you, they will pretty much not stand any chance against any fully upgraded zealots. Only those roaches, of course, will be the saving grace here for SERRAL, and of course his strong economy did drop, however, to 78 workers. Perhaps he's just focusing into getting more and more of that army supply just to overwhelm NEEB here. NEEB at 87 army supply. But yeah, remember, he has those upgrades, as finally SERRAL also upgrading his units here, and NEEB decides to take this location, but we might have an army move out here by SERRAL towards the middle location from NEEB. Stasis fields are online, the Zerglings are in the front, Banelings are going for those probes, but once again that stasis trap's taking so many units out of SERRAL here. Now SERRAL once again is being surrounded by NEEB. NEEB has a very good position here, nice blinking here out, nice micro here by NEEB as well, good kiting back and forth by SERRAL as he's taking out unit after unit, but in the end he has to wait, of course, for his reinforcements. In come the Zerglings, and yeah, the Banelings are of course really important, but that micro is really strong here by NEEB. In come the Oracles, but they have no energy. The roaches are still alive here, but yeah, NEEB looks like he's pretty much in command of this defense, as even one Archon is getting spawned here, so SERRAL has to retreat back, has to find a better position perhaps, and wait for those reinforcements. So quite a strong game we have here. Nice harassment, and look at that level. Those upgrades are about to get finished, so really important upgrades here for NEEB. And yeah, even this one Archon will have so much more damage. And hold on, we actually have once again those orcs moving out. We do see some queens, but it's just Revelants being used here. One orc has even been sniped. So yeah, let's see what the next steps are going to be. Perhaps we're going to see a transition into even some flying units. Perhaps NEEB will go for some carriers, for some Tempest could be a nice idea for him. Let's see, at the same time we might also see some Broodlords for SERRAL. We might see some Ultralisk. Of course, everything can happen here with a strong economy. And look at that, NEEB actually feels confident now. He knows he has those upgrades online. They're working really well for him, and he has so much splash damage with those Archons. Even a nice guarding shield here for him, so nice job here by NEEB. But in the end, the reinforcements are coming in for SERRAL, as he should be able to hold this. And yeah, he pushes back NEEB now. So quite a fair game here, quite a balanced game, a very strategic game. Hold on, we actually see another move out here by NEEB. We saw so many zealots, but the Zerglings are spread around, and we even have one lurker for SERRAL. And yeah, lots and lots of action going on. NEEB, sadly for him, is going to get surrounded. He did use his blink. There are some stalkers coming in to help, but yeah, so much here for SERRAL. Finally, the Oracles will also come in, and yeah, we even have an Overlord here, so we might see a Night Swarm being produced here by SERRAL. Could also be a nice option for him. And yeah, let's see, some Locusts would also be an option for him, some Swarm Host, but it could be a little bit too late. As you know, finally SERRAL is going to move forward with so many Zerglings, going straight for this one pylon, so very smart move by him. Some reinforcements are coming in, but yeah, they just died there with that teleport. So yeah, very smart, intelligent gameplay here by SERRAL, as he went straight for that one pylon. Now he's going straight for this Nexus, so good job. He's of course going to sacrifice those Zerglings, but they have done their job. And we see a transition by NEEB into Immortals now, so very tanky unit for him. Immortals really strong on the ground. And yes, SERRAL also having those lurkers behind, very good into defending with their splash damage. And we even see the lurkers now moving forward for SERRAL, so yeah, great Revelance being used. The units will be visible. Let's just see, NEEB is inviting SERRAL to attack, and we actually see some High Templar Storms. So yeah, High Templars with that Psionic Storm is going to be the option here for NEEB. He might get a good flank, he might try to snipe so many of those lurkers. And let's see where exactly SERRAL is going to attack, but NEEB with a good position here. He's even blocking the entrance, so very, very smart gameplay here. Even sniping 2 important units, 2 lurkers there, so very, very good gameplay here by the player from the States. And yeah, SERRAL looking like he really wants to bust here forward with some banings, but hold on, we actually see so many storms being casted, 1 immortal being trapped here. NEEB having his strong force on the high ground, waiting of course for SERRAL to attack. But yeah, SERRAL is just going to transition into another position. And yeah, the reinforcements are pouring in for NEEB. But SERRAL looks like he's once again going for this one location. And yeah, NEEB has to, of course, to go back to defend. At the same time, he's moving forward with his units. So yeah, let's have a look. Perhaps he's going to regroup, but we do see some banings pouring here forward. However, NEEB is really fast with his micro. And yeah, he should be able, of course, to fend this off. So at the same time, he also sniped this one hatchery here. He has so many high templars with those storms. So quite an interesting selection here by NEEB, not going for those disruptors. He actually opting to go for the high templars. So quite a smart move. You can of course cast those storms and then at the same time just morph into those Archons. So let's see, we might see an attack here in the middle of the map. What exactly is going to happen? Some transition into some Vipers, perhaps with some Gliding Clouds. And no, he's actually using that one harpoon, but great storms here, actually really strong storms here by NEEB, catching so many of those units. We see a lot of blood, a lot of Zerg blood on the ground. So nice job here by NEEB, showing us the strengths of those high templars. At the same time, just keeping SERRAL at bay, keeping it back, and yeah, defending into this location and this location here as well. So yeah, very interesting game. Still no transition by SERRAL into other units. Going for those Zerglings, Banelings, and those, actually he has Hydras now, many Hydras into Lurkers. But yeah, NEEB will hold on very nicely here as we're closing in at the 20-minute mark. So quite an interesting game, quite a strong game by the 2 pro players. And yeah, let's see what exactly the next options are going to be here for both players. Army wise, we have 140 supply here for NEEB, almost there. He actually is sacrificing once again some units. Even some probes will have to be sacrificed if the economy is strong, just to have more of that supply of an army. So quite a interesting game here, and we actually see some carriers being produced. So we have even some upgrades. So after all of those ground upgrades, now NEEB decides to go for some carriers. Nice transition for him. Let's see if it's going to work out. Of course, the response by SERRAL should be, of course, Corruptors. These Corruptors are really strong in the air, and later on we might see some Broodlords. We have a small stalemate now in between the 2 pros. The Overlord is just scouting the map, but at the same time, SERRAL, of course, preparing his creep highway just to defend the other expansion points. We do, however, see NEEB prepared for that with a War Prism here. So let's have a look what exactly is going to happen. NEEB looking like he's going to slowly but steadily move here forward just to defend this expansion. And at the same time also defending here the center of the upper part. So quite a smart gameplay here by both of them, as actually both of them are actually maxed out here. And yeah, let's have a look what the next steps are going to be here. Is SERRAL going to, sorry, NEEB is going to attack, as we have some dancing units here for him. And yeah, he might try to regroup in the middle of the map, or perhaps try a double attack into the center and into this location. But there's so many lurkers, so many spores and spine crawlers here for SERRAL. So it looks like he might try to regroup. SERRAL playing very defensively, also sending out a Overseer with a Nidostorm. Yes, so many units into this one. Nidostorm needs to be careful here. Let's have a look. Some Zerglings are also attacking here, but of course the real damage is going to happen here with this one Nidostorm. So many Hydras, so many Lurkers should come out. So NEEB a little bit under pressure here. Let's have a look. Does he has some units back to defend? He actually has to teleport back home. SERRAL sees this as the carriers are coming here forward. And yeah, the worm is going to get sniped here. So nice job by NEEB teleporting home with a couple of units. Same time, SERRAL now having a global attack force. This is just going to be able to spawn so many worms around the map. At the same time, he's also attacking here with some Zerglings have made it here forward, and in the end he's also tried to attack here. There are some cannons, actually very many cannons here for NEEB. And yeah, good defense here by NEEB, and a very smart choice to teleport those carriers back home. You even have the stasis wards here, very rarely seen by the Protoss being used, stasis wards. And yeah, once again, NEEB on the move out with his Archons in the front, with those Stalkers. SERRAL in the center of the map, and he actually went for some Broodwars, and finally some probes will be sacrificed. This is of course wanted here by NEEB, as he wants to have much more supply than his opponent into the army. So let's have a look. Some Infestors also being spawned, so Infestor is quite very cocky here, moving forward, seeing this Nexus, and even the probes are attacking. So what a interesting game here we have in the late game. So quite a different strategy. Of course, SERRAL is going to be able to take out this expansion, but at the same time NEEB is moving forward. Some units are getting attacked here by the Broodwar, so NEEB needs to be careful. Archon is going to drop, so he has to micro them back. He will be able to snap this one hatchery, but quite many units have been lost here for NEEB. So let's have a look what exactly is going to happen. Great feedbacks now being used against the Corruptors, or against the Vipers here, as SERRAL has of course a large amount of his army here into this location. So very interesting job. Finally, NEEB is regrouping with his main force in the middle of the map, as yes, SERRAL also has quite a strong force here after the 20-minute mark. So slowly but steadily we're closing at the 30-minute mark. We're closing at the half-time point really soon, as NEEB is able to snipe another Overlord here. So let's have a look. Is SERRAL going to commit here? Is he going to attack the upper right part? NEEB has quite a small force here, but at the same time he's going to secure his expansion here versus SERRAL. So SERRAL also nicely kiting back and forward, up and right with his Broodwars. Even those spores are moving, actually spine crawlers moving here out. So SERRAL looks like he's going to be interested into attacking this location, at the same time also defending this location here. We have an engagement in the middle of the map, but I don't think that NEEB is going to commit here, but we do actually see an attack here. So NEEB has to retreat some harpoons against those carriers. Nice job by SERRAL taking them out, and in the end he's also forcing a cancel here versus NEEB. So NEEB looking like he's going to attack here, but he needs much more units. There's so many Zerg units out on the map. It's actually 144 supply of an army versus 131. So let's have a look what exactly is going to happen. Nice snipes here by SERRAL. Of course, every unit counts in the late game quite a lot, as the economy is going to be really important for most players. So those Vipers proving really strong for SERRAL, as he's just harpooning one unit after the other versus NEEB. So NEEB tries of course to secure his expansion. This one is a little bit closer to these other expansions. At the same time, SERRAL is moving forward with a smaller task force here, with Zerglings, with Hylos, and we see a nice transition for NEEB into this one mothership, and now he's pretty much feeling very confident, as he has recalled all of those units, and he's moving forward into regrouping and into attacking towards the expansion point, but he needs all of those reinforcements. So quite an interesting job. Of course, he has a much more mobile force now, as he can teleport those units next to the mothership, and at the same time of course buying time for this one Nexus, where SERRAL responding really smart here with a worm into this location. So many Zerglings. So once again there will be a feedback needed, but hold on, the mothership actually has been torpedoed here. Great fungus, really strong fungus, and NEEB answering of course with massive amounts of high temperature storms. Quite a strong stuff here by both players. At the same time, in come the Zerglings, so they should come out really soon. But yeah, some probes are fighting here with some zealots, and yes, the Tempest. We actually have a transition now into Tempest by NEEB. So yeah, what an interesting game we have here. So Tempest it is going to be. Of course, Tempest also very strong, even stronger against Vipers, as they can long distance attack. And yeah, of course, like I told you, every unit counts a lot, and those Tempests are really good into long distance attacking, but they're not that fast attacking. However, they can of course nicely be kited back and forward into attacking, as more and more probes will be sniped here against NEEB. So now NEEB is at 135 supply versus 144 by SERRAL. So it's going to be, I believe, coming down to very strong attack. And let's have a look. Even the Tempest have the fire attack being upgraded for them. Their feedbacks go back and forward more and more fungals are being casted. And yeah, SERRAL tries of course to snipe after unit after unit here for him, so still anyone's game. So once again, SERRAL comes here forward with a Nidoswarm, having vision, tries of course to snipe the production tabs. Hold on, we actually see the lurkers coming here forward, but NEEB is answering immediately with some high temperature storms. And yeah, at the same time, the Nidoswarm is about to get finished, but yeah, no units are coming out, so it's just a fake Nidoswarm. The real action is happening here, but the Tempests are quite exposed. They're getting torpedoed back. So nice chop here by SERRAL, sniping those important units. Tempest after Tempest is getting sniped here, and we even see some high temperature storms being used here by NEEB quite defensively. And yeah, let's have a look how these things are going to be continued. NEEB needs to be, of course, much more careful here with his Tempest against those Vipers, against the Corruptors. And we even have those Infestors with some mind control could be used here as well. As in comes SERRAL once again, but NEEB is in position with his defenses, with those Archons, with those Immortals at the same time. Once again, SERRAL moves forward. He tries once again to harpoon those units. Mothership is here as well, so let's have a look what's going to happen here. An Overseer is much needed for SERRAL. As more and more probes are falling, of course, they're being sacrificed just to give more and more of a supply of an army. So let's have a look what exactly is going to happen here. The middle of the map looks like it's in control for SERRAL. His creep spread is really strong. As in come the Broodwars, and they're going straight for those robotics facility base here. So Broodwars are really big exposed. Let's have a look at the answer from NEEB. He might try to go for a flank. He might try to attack from the back, but yeah, so much damage is being taken. But hold on, NEEB actually also moving forward with the fireballs from the Tempest. So nice job here with those units, fireballs on the ground and ice balls on the air for the Tempest here. So quite very beautiful sight to be seen here. But yeah, we have fungals for SERRAL to keep NEEB at bay, and in come the Broodwars from the back just to secure the expansion point here as well. So still anyone's game. Mothership is up, invisibility is there, as some Zerglings are actually moving forward, so this might try to force NEEB to come back. There's so many Tempests, but he needs to be careful against the Vipers. And yeah, now the Nexus is going to fall here, so SERRAL making quite some damage with a small task force, forcing at the same time NEEB to come back. And NEEB with so many high temperatures, so much storm is being needed soon. And yeah, he might get some good attacks here, nicely sniping one Broodwar, and wait feedbacks here against the Vipers. Even the Oracles are here in front, and a nice fungal being used. And yeah, those Tempests are really deadly here against the world champion, as they just keep sniping unit after unit and nicely getting kited back and forth. The fungal also looks really pretty onto them, very big fungals. And yeah, SERRAL looks like he's feeling really confident to attack. Worker wise, of course, both of them did sacrifice so much worker, and I believe NEEB is even closing in to 200 supply of an army, so that would be really crazy. And yeah, let's see, of course he's moving forward. He's going to be able to snipe those spores. There are some carriers here. Where is SERRAL actually going for the upper right part, so might allow NEEB to take out some of his units. But you hold on, we actually have a huge engagement here. Nice fungals, nice high temperature storm, and unit after unit might get sniped. SERRAL has the vision here. He's attacking, of course, the Tempest, one Tempest after the other is getting sniped, but at the same time also NEEB nicely kiting those Tempests back and forth, snapping so much of those Corruptors here. So pretty even trade here, both players dropping into supply. NEEB still having 163 of a supply versus SERRAL, so he's feeling quite confident. This expansion is quite exposed, but it's a very important expansion to be lost here, as those drones were mining. So really strong pickup here by NEEB, as he's going to be able to snipe those workers here as well. So 17 workers have been lost for SERRAL. SERRAL has to make his move as well. He has to announce, of course, so he's moving forward with those Broodwars, attacking the cannons. Yeah, those shield batteries are nicely healing up. Same time now in comes once again NEEB with his units. The Tempests are, of course, really strong. They are high range, but hold on, we actually have mind control now. Mind control versus those the Tempest, and look at that, so much damage is being taken by them, with those Archons actually working against the Tempest. And the fungals are really strong, but in the end NEEB does hold. Shields are still up, and yeah, now he has to find lurkers. Does he have some observers here? Guess he doesn't even need it, as he's just moving more and more forward against the units from SERRAL. So SERRAL quite under siege here. NEEB looking really strong. Same time, SERRAL tries to come here forward with some units, but we even have a transition into Void Race. So Void Race, a much faster unit than the Tempest, also with Overcharge, really strong. But Tempest proved to be really strong for NEEB as he's moving forward. If he would be able to keep those Tempests alive in the back end, he could just nicely kite them back and forward just to keep on able to be sniping so many units one after the other. But of course they're not that fast. But yeah, look at that, attacking now those Broodlords. Now in comes those Corruptors, but yeah, the Tempests are pretty much secure underneath of the mothership, and there is even some Archons and some High Templar Storms. So yeah, the Tempests once again show their strengths as they are able to snipe one Spinecrawler after the other. So quite a strong unit to have into the late game. And yeah, what's going to be the answer from SERRAL? Of course, many more Corruptors, some Broodlords, and yeah, those Fungals at the ground as well with some Vipers. Let's see how many Vipers. Yes, 3 Vipers. And lots of Infestors, of course, for mind control. And we even have some Ultras now on the ground. So yeah, NEEB should of course be able to hold this location. So SERRAL transitioning into some Ultra-Risk. And there's even some Corruptors coming here forward. So this could be a strong attack. NEEB reacting quite interesting. He's going to move here back. And we might see a base trade scenario at around the 30-minute mark here. We might see a base trade scenario as in come those Void Rays with Overcharge. I believe NEEB should have the advantage, of course, in case we're going for a base trade. And let's have a look. In come the Corruptor, so NEEB needs to be careful. Some Void Rays will be sniped as in comes the attack. One Void Ray after the other, even another Harpoon being happening, but the Tempests are still dealing damage against those Corruptors, and even great Storms here by NEEB, as one Corruptor after the other is going to also get sniped. So quite a fair engagement, a fair trade. And yeah, in come those Overlords on an Ultra-Risk here for SERRAL. They're heading straight towards this one Nexus. NEEB has to retreat, he has to defend, but this is going to be enough as Ultra-Risk are really strong, and the Nexus getting sniped, a very important Nexus snap. There were so much minerals being left here, but the Ultra-Risk might get killed. However, no, SERRAL's creep way is really strong as he just keeps on sniping probe after probe. So sadly for NEEB, he has fallen to 25 workers, 44 SERRAL. But yeah, is there any mining going on, of course, into this location for SERRAL? NEEB has to rebuild this location here really quick. And yeah, let's see what exactly is going to happen, as once again we have both players into a more defensive move. And yeah, some Zerglings will be spawned. SERRAL even taking this location here, very important location as it has so much minerals still being left. And yeah, NEEB now having quite a strong force of Archons with High Templars, Void Rays in the air, Tempest, and we might see once again engagement in the middle of the map. Great Revelance being used, one Corruptor after the other is getting sniped, even the Broodlord. So yeah, nice job here by NEEB, as he should also be able to snipe Spore after Spore. So pretty good unit to have, like I told you, the Tempest in the late game. But you of course have to be very careful with it. It's not that much of a fast moving unit. But yeah, this mothership also still alive here for NEEB, as once again he is pushing forward. At one point there was a base trade scenario, however NEEB decided to pull back, and yeah, with this strong force I believe he would have had of course the advantage into the base trade scenario. But currently we see another siege into the upper right part. SERRAL tries to force of course NEEB to come back, but at the same time his Zerglings are moving forward here. So let's have a look what exactly is going to happen. Who is going to be making the first decision into attacking NEEB? 172 supply of an army versus 156 from SERRAL. Yeah, we might see a strong attack once again in the middle of the map. SERRAL is retreating. NEEB holds his ground. He's snapping more and more of those queen eggs. And yeah, this base is also going to get fallen here. I believe NEEB could try to attack here forward. He has the more higher advantage. He might try to snap those Infestors, almost snapping one of them. Yeah, NEEB is being really careful. But yeah, SERRAL also expanding around the map, so NEEB has to make a decision, even using storms against those hallucinations here. So yeah, let's have a look what exactly is happening. Some lurkers on the ground, dealing now damage towards the production buildings by NEEB, so NEEB has to retreat with his Void Rays. So yeah, the Ultra-Risk are now being exposed, and yeah, they're being pushed back of course by NEEB, but a huge army move out, so preparing here by SERRAL. So SERRAL feels much more confident here by NEEB, even though he has lesser of a supply, but he He's moving forward. He has those lurkers spread out. NEEB also here into his location. He's also sieging here forward with some shield batteries, but I believe SERRAL just changed the position as he's now moving forward. So let's have a look. Lots and lots of shield batteries. Quite a smart, intelligent move here by SERRAL. Those shield batteries will just be able to restore those shields versus the Zerg. But yeah, Zerg just keeps staying into this position. He has so many corruptors. NEEB has to make up his mind. Is he going back to defend? And yes, it looks like he's going to go back. And we saw so much parasitic bombs here against the Void Rays in the air. Nice and stop here by SERRAL. And now finally SERRAL has to retreat against the main force from NEEB. So let's have a look how this game is going to unfold. Nice shield batteries. The other shield batteries have been finished, but sadly here for NEEB, he once again has to move forward here to defend those shield batteries. And yeah, in he comes with his army fleet, with those Void Rays, with the Tempest in the air. So he needs those pylons to be rebuilt really quick. In the meantime, there is no mining going on here. NEEB once again moves forward with his units, and yeah, in comes SERRAL. So the middle of the map once again is being disputed here by both players. So let's have a look what exactly is going to happen. Sadly, the shield batteries for NEEB are going to fall here. So a really heavily structure here for NEEB. A nice investment for him. And yeah, once again, the Ultralisks are moving forward. SERRAL just tries to force a comeback here by NEEB and retreat. But in the end, NEEB holds with his Dark Templar now. So still anyone's game. We have the 36-minute mark, quite a strong game, and SERRAL actually feels confident. Of course, he has those Vipers. He wants to torpedo those units, and yeah, there it is. He just keeps pulling them back, just snapping one after the other, then just retreating. But NEEB, of course, is going to answer as well with those Void Rays. So yeah, let's have a look at the army count. NEEB 170 almost, 138 for SERRAL, and yeah, those shield batteries will of course be really important, but yes, SERRAL taking care of that. So yeah, quite a strong game we have here in between the two pros. Still anyone's game. Still, let's have a look. Those infestors will of course be really important if they will be able to cast those important fungals. And let's not forget that they also have mind control. And yeah, as some drones are getting transferred here by SERRAL. So yeah, NEEB having this expansion is a really important expansion. He has to defend it. At the same time, he's staying close, of course, to the other expansion point. But SERRAL has to, of course, make up his mind. He might try to attack here. Let's have a look what exactly is going to happen. As SERRAL at the same time with spores, NEEB with shield batteries. So quite an interesting macro-oriented game by both players. Yeah, like I told you, still anyone's game. Quite an interesting game here. Let's have a look what exactly is going to happen. As the spores are now moving slowly but steadily forward. The queen eggs are also spreading here around the map, and gas is now being mined by SERRAL into this location. Some pylon is also being produced. But yeah, NEEB will have a surprise here as he's going to be able to see this one expansion. He might try to snipe it really quick with his main force, his main fleet. And let's have a look what exactly is going to happen. At the same time, he needs to be careful with those expansion as they will be exposed. But yeah, NEEB looking like he's going forward into this location, just wanting to snap those workers really quick with those Void Rays in the air. So yeah, the hatchery is about all here. So at the same time, SERRAL is now moving forward with his Broodlords, going for this attack. And yeah, NEEB has to regroup really quick. His main forces are spread around 3 corners in the map. So SERRAL having his whole fleet here. Even the fungals are here into this location. The Nexus taking quite some damage. There's so many minerals here to be mined, but yeah, SERRAL is going to punish here NEEB. Quite a nice move by him. Just like in a chess game, he knew that he would attack there, and once again, SERRAL pulling those units back into those corruptors. So once again, he's moving forward with the Vipers in the air. And yes, NEEB has to defend now as slowly but steadily we're closing at the 40-minute mark. I told you it's a very interesting, very long game here in between them. Every mistake will cost, of course, a lot, as both players are still having quite some expansions up into mining, but SERRAL seems to be having more of a control in the middle of the map. NEEB is pushing forward. Perhaps he's going for that base trade scenario. He has some units behind to defend those organs, of course, really important into defending. Let's have a look what exactly is going to happen. Still, both players are roaming around, just cutting back and forward. So on the hunt with his Vipers, with his units, and yeah, nice and interesting teleportation back here by NEEB. Perhaps NEEB is going to try to take out the reinforcements by SERRAL. He's moving here nicely from the back. He's going to snap the spores. Same time, SERRAL seems to be committing here into catching some of those units. Same time, he's also now regrouping in the middle of the map. Yeah, NEEB changes his position. He's going to take out some of the reinforcements by SERRAL. And yeah, nice. I don't really agree with that, with those Templar Storm against those fake changelings here. But yeah, in comes SERRAL once again, but this time NEEB is looking like he's prepared. Even casts one of those time bubbles. And yeah, great fungus here by SERRAL. So many of those units by the NEEB are being fungled. At the same time, once again, he's torpedoing one Tempest after the other. And yeah, great stuff here by SERRAL and by NEEB as well. It's still a very quite balanced game, as the Tempests are still attacking the ground with those fireballs. So a nice job here by NEEB. And yeah, that army is looking really scary against the air. But yeah, NEEB once again showing us the force of those Tempests, just sniping those Broodlord left, the Broodlord head. You really need to be careful against those Vipers. Those Vipers seem to be the winning move, perhaps here by SERRAL. Let's have a look. It's only one Viper being remained at the same time. In comes the fleet from NEEB attacking here, but needs to be careful. Just going to regroup back. And now all of a sudden both of them are at the same army count. Upgrade wise also both players maxed out upgrades. As in comes SERRAL with quite exposed Broodlords here, so he needs to be careful. But I'm sure he knows what he's doing, as those Corruptors are really fast in the air. And yeah, now SERRAL heading straight towards the production buildings from NEEB. NEEB has some of those Dark Templars on the ground. Let's see the reaction from NEEB. He's coming back, but so much damage is being taken here by him. SERRAL has to retreat as well. As let's have a look. Those Broodlings on the ground to deal, of course, so much damage, but at the same time, lots and lots of Zerglings here into this location point. So it was just a distraction here by SERRAL, just to force NEEB to come back home. And at the same time, the Nexus barely survives here. So quite strong force, quite strong strategy here. Just like I told you, just like in a chess game. Fungus now go out. Another nice harpoon. And yeah, Tempests are being kited, Corruptors are being kited back and forth. Great storms and great fungus, big fungus onto those Tempests. Yeah, those Tempests aren't that much mobile now. And yeah, SERRAL looks like he's going to commit. If he's even torpedoing this one mothership, and I believe he's going to take it down. Time warp bubble has been casted here. And yeah, so much damage is being taken left and right, but the important mothership has been taken out as another Tempest going to get sniped. He tries to react with some Temper Storms, nicely done by him. But yeah, SERRAL is really fast in the air with those Corruptors. And yeah, both players are licking their wounds now, as both players have dropped below 160 supplies. So let's have a look what exactly is going to happen. Some Zerglings are still roaming around. Perhaps they wish, of course, to punish this other expansion point. And yeah, SERRAL might even try to regroup his units straight towards that expansion point, but NEEB seems to be careful for that. With those Void Rays in the air, some drones are getting sniped, and yeah, NEEB is regrouping straight with all of his units. At the same time, some Zealots will fall here, and yeah, in comes SERRAL once again with his Infestors in the front, casting some fungus. Nice fungus here, catching some of those units. Same time, NEEB clearing this expansion point. Yeah, quite an interesting game we have here. Almost a 1 hour game here in between the two pro players. SERRAL once again sending out those Zerglings, and nothing here to defend for NEEB, sadly. And we might see a strong engagement here into this point. SERRAL has the high ground. Nice kiting of those Tempests, but not that many Tempests are being left alive. Let's see what the Zerglings are doing here into the main. Some Tempests are still being spawned, but now the Stargates are falling for NEEB. And the NEEB has to, of course, to come back with those Void Rays, but SERRAL is also nearby. So yeah, still in one's game. Once again, unit after unit is getting sniped, but NEEB not really getting any good connection with those Void Rays, with that overcharge. And yeah, still SERRAL just roaming around with his Broodlords, with his Zerglings around the map. Both players are being maxed out. Let's have a look what exactly is going to happen. Lots and lots of cannons, lots and lots of shields here, as SERRAL just keeps pushing multiple forward here. And yeah, great fungus here by the world champion once again. Let's see a great position here this time for NEEB. He has the high ground. And yeah, SERRAL even using the Dark Zone looking like spell, the orange spell here. And yeah, it's just dealing so much damage here against NEEB. NEEB's units are falling really low, but in comes the mothership, making those units invisible. But he needs so much more shields, as lots and lots of units are getting sniped. The mothership once again getting really fast sniped. And yeah, NEEB tries to attack, of course, tries to respond with those Tempests, but yeah, the Dark Swarm spell He's on the ground, making those units on the ground much more tankier against the air units, and hold on, the Zerglings are still pulling forward. So SERRAL seems to be all over the place, all over the map, sniping the workers. How many workers are being left here for NEEB? Only 4. 16 only for SERRAL, as we're slowly but steadily closing into the end of the game. Let's have a look. It's still a strong force. Those Void Rays can be really deadly if they get a great overcharge. And yeah, let's not forget those high temper storms by NEEB, as yeah, SERRAL just keeps clearing the map here, just searching for more and more bases, as he's also moving forward with those spores. Yeah, let's have a look what exactly is going to happen now. So many Tempests are in the air. Nice job here by NEEB, sniping those units. And let's see, he should also be able to snipe those spores. So really strong stuff here by him, as the Vipers are sucking energy, and yeah, the Tempests are nicely being kited back and forth. There are shield batteries in the back, great fungus, of course. And yes, SERRAL is a little bit exposed here with his Corruptors. Nice fungus, everything is getting fungled here, but yeah, the Void Rays are now getting good connections against SERRAL's Corruptors. So still SERRAL taking quite some damage here against NEEB. Once again, fungus are being used, both players are nicely kiting back and forth, and now we have parasitic bombs against those units. So much damage is now being taken by NEEB with those parasitic bombs, with the fungals, but yeah, so much damage is being taken by SERRAL as well against those Tempests. And yeah, so many Corruptors are falling here, left and right. The Protoss are still in the air, but the Corruptors are falling really fast here. Not that many Corruptors are being left alive, and yeah, SERRAL actually has to retreat now. But what exactly is being left? Just some Broodwars, just some Queens. Even the Queens have been brought here. The Tempests are still pretty much alive, so NEEB is being able to push SERRAL back, but there are some spores on the ground. However, NEEB is taking care of that with the fireballs from the Tempest. So yeah, what a great hold here by NEEB. Even though he has dropped into 4 workers, his army supply is still strong against SERRAL. SERRAL is being forced back here. Nice stuff, and NEEB is feeling really confident. He might try to just snipe more unit after unit with now the ice balls of the Tempest in the air. Let's have a look. The Infestors are now once again coming forward. Great fungal once again, and nice parasitic bomb. More and more parasitic bombs are being used with fungals. Great splash damage here, and look at that. Sadly for NEEB, he had to GG out those fungals in the end, and the parasitic bombs from this world champion just brought him the victory here. So at one point I believe that NEEB was able to push him back, was able to win this game, but I guess SERRAL just kited back just to wait for that energy to be restored onto those Vipers and onto those Infestors. And yeah, I believe in the end that has brought him here the game. He did lose quite all of his Corruptors, but yeah, fungals with parasitic bombs, the winning move here for the world champion. Crazy 46 game here of ASMR from StarCraft. Once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this format. I hope you enjoyed this replay. We'll be seeing, of course, in the next replays. This is Tommy signing out.